When it comes to being able to create your reality, shadow work might be one of the most beneficial tools that you can use. This is because it allows you to let go and release many of the blocks you may be holding on to that are preventing you from realizing your goals and dreams. And most people have these energetic blocks or anchors that are preventing them from receiving what they want in their lives. However, there is also a trap you can fall into when you perform shadow work. And it is an experience a lot of people report if they're not aware of it going in using these tools. And what that is a lack of motivation after completing the work, almost like an empty feeling. To verbally express it, it could be something like, now what? So in this video, we're going to go over not only how to prevent this from happening, but something oh so powerful that you can do once you have released or cleared through shadow work that will allow you to create reality quickly. So let's jump into it. Now first, let's go over what shadow work is briefly if you've never heard this term or you just want to reinforce this idea. Now, shadow work is so crucial because essentially what it does is it allows you to remove the blocks, stuck energy, and anything else you have trapped in your body or energy field. You see, throughout your life, you pick up on things unconsciously, subconsciously, certain traumas, certain belief systems, all of these different things as you just go through experiencing life. And that is fine, that's nothing wrong with that. But for most of us, we're not aware of how to actually stop holding on to some of these things. Traumas can be released, negative patterns can be released, stuck energy can be released, and when they remain in your system, they continue to affect your vibration, which affects your ability to create, and they can many times sabotage you, come up at inopportune times, and much more. For example, if you find that you get triggered by something a lot and you're not even sure why, most likely it's because there's some deeper rooted energy, trauma, or something else that's getting triggered and is causing you to act in that way. But if you were to release or remove or integrate whatever that deeper rooted thing is, you would no longer have that response. And again, so many of us are walking around with what I like to consider energetic anchors. And the way you can think of energetic anchors, or this trauma, this stuck energy or whatever else that we're going to alleviate or release through shadow work, is think of yourself suspended in water. And at the top towards the surface are the greater experiences that you want to have. This is the higher level of consciousness. This is higher levels of energy. It's higher level of manifestation, right? To be able to manifest in the ways you want or create your reality, you need to be up here. But more towards the depths are the lower levels of consciousness, the lower levels of energy, things like fear, guilt, shame, pride, even anger, these kinds of things as you start getting more towards the depths. And so the more energetic anchors you have, or the less amount you've actually done shadow work to release these anchors and traumas and stuck energy, the more you're pulled down towards the depths. Now, no matter what you do, as far as trying to do positives to move towards the upper surface, if you don't clear the anchors, even if you try to swim up towards the surface, you're just going to float right back down to wherever the weight's going to allow you to be. You will have a set point there, but if you simply release the anchors, without needing to do much else, you would naturally begin to rise. I'm sure you've heard of the idea that you are naturally a high vibrational being, and it's absolutely true. You're connected to something incredibly powerful, and the only thing that prevents that connection from being stronger are things that are covering it up, things that are preventing you from being able to channel that energy or have a clean connection to the highest degree. You could think of it like a hose pipe that would just naturally have this water flowing through it easily and effortlessly. But if there's gunks in different parts of the hose pipe, it's going to prevent that water from getting through, or maybe only a little bit gets through. Now, you cannot cut off this connection completely. You are always connected in some way to that which you are. But you can absolutely cover it up and create resistances towards it that prevent you from accessing it at powerful levels. And so when we remove the gunk, when we release the anchors, you naturally start to float up more into what you naturally are, which is these higher levels of consciousness, energy, and ability to create. And so it goes without saying, even though I just said all that, that it would benefit us massively to do the shadow work and start releasing these anchors, because then you will naturally start to rise. And this is the experience of a lot of people when they start doing shadow work. They release these heavy burdens and they notice that they just feel good through doing that. They didn't do anything to add anything to themselves. They simply released. They simply let go of things that they no longer needed to hold on to. They've released the anchors and immediately almost felt like a deep exhalation, like a oh, I don't need to have that anymore. I can release that. I can surrender that. Now, it's not only that you're going to feel good, you will also increase your ability to manifest. In fact, I've had clients who have done shadow work and then manifestations have come in very quickly because it was whatever the anchor was that was preventing something that was trying to come in from coming in. It's almost like they had this barrier around themselves that was preventing an opportunity or whatever else from being able to come in. And this is a quite common occurrence. If we look at the book Letting Go by David Hawkins, he gives examples of clients he had who did this. They release certain things, and then almost like these magical occurrences would happen in that person's life simply because they now naturally floated to that higher frequency where things could start coming in that were more beneficial and more favorable. And so when we begin to do this, it's not only it's going to feel good, you're going to be less triggered and all that, and that's already an amazing gift, but you will also manifest easier. You will also be able to create more in your life. You're going to have that cleaner channel to source, to God, to the universe, whatever it is you want to call it, which of course is going to allow you to bring more practical and tangible things into your life as well. However, if we don't do shadow work in one way or another, and there's many ways to do it, but if we don't do it in one way or another, we will continuously have those anchors, and usually anchors beget anchors. And what that means is as you continue to have those anchors, it's easy to create more because of your reactions, because of the way you're thinking. You end up re-traumatizing yourself more in sometimes different directions as well. You end up picking up more anchors through having them because you're going further and further into the depths, and that's where more of that stuff exists. And so doing shadow work is paramount in my eyes when you want to create your reality. It's something with our clients in our reality creation program we focus on heavily, giving really advanced and deep techniques to integrate the shadow and to release things that you no longer need to hold on to. And again, I've seen really crazy things happen, not only for myself, but with clients and peers who do this and focus a lot of their attention on releasing things from their shadow. So I am also going to give you a shadow work technique that you can do now. Now there's plenty out there and there's other ones I've given on this channel. Towards the end of this, I will link you to a more comprehensive video on it where we give some other techniques, and you'll have a pretty big picture or full picture of what you can do in order to work this and to start making improvements in this area. But I'm going to give you one now that you can start to utilize right away. And then we're going to get into the final added thing that I recommend doing that can help you avoid that trap we mentioned earlier. So the majority of people, they hold on to emotions like shame, guilt, and similar ones that then seep into the shadow, again, creating those anchors that drag them into the depths. And so one of the most simple practices that everyone knows about, but very few actually use, is forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness. It is a potent practice that can allow you to release these stuck emotions and also integrate them. And integrating meaning you can transmute them, again, you're essentially releasing or taking back that energy in this case. And so there are a few different ways that we can do this. Now, the first is always self-forgiveness. You want to start there and to acknowledge anything you've been beating yourself up for and then forgive yourself for it. Now, a very powerful way to do this is to look at yourself in the mirror and to out loud tell yourself that you forgive yourself for whatever it is you've been avoiding or you think you've done or whatever else. You tell yourself that you are forgiven and that you also love yourself. Now, if any tears come up, I want you to allow them because this is a sign of releasing. As above, so below. So as energy releases, there can be physical responses. Cough, yawns, sneezing, these kinds of things are also very normal when you are releasing, and take them as signs that you actually have released something. So again, tears, cough, some people laugh, whatever it is, allow yourself to do it and don't block the physical release because then you end up blocking some of the internal release as well. Now, to make this even more powerful, you can tap what's known as the pinky point, which is connected to the heart meridian, and use this following formula. So you can use this script, and this is what I recommend you do. So just say, I forgive myself for, and then whatever the reason is. So whatever it is you're forgiving yourself for, you're acknowledging it, you're putting it in the light of your awareness. Again, you're looking in the mirror at yourself, taking responsibility, yes, and also forgiving yourself for it because, and then you're going to give yourself a reason of compassion or understanding. And you want to think of something genuine here because, I just didn't know better, or my awareness wasn't at that point at that given time. Because, I just was so emotionally imbalanced at that point, I didn't realize the damage I was doing. It doesn't really matter what it is so long as it's something that resonates with you and feels genuine to you. And as you're doing this, you want to be tapping again on that pinky point, looking at the mirror, again, into your own eyes, as you give yourself this gift of forgiveness. When you shine the light on something, it does one of two things. Either it releases or it joins the light. So anything you've been pushing down into the shadows, not wanting to look at, allow it to come up and invite it into the light, and you will be surprised about most likely surprised at least, about what can happen when you do this. Now, once you've done self-forgiveness, the second thing you can do is to forgive anyone you need to forgive. Now, in a roundabout way, this is also in a sense self-forgiveness. You're doing this again for your own benefit. So if you're like, well, I don't want to forgive that person, whatever, understand this is for your release. And so I would recommend that you just let go of any of that vitriol or anger, whatever else it is, and to allow yourself to forgive using that same formula, but now for whoever it is you feel like it would benefit to forgive. And again, you're not doing this to the person necessarily. You're doing this again, you can do it in front of the mirror. You don't have to necessarily look at yourself for this one. You know, if you want to, you absolutely can, but you can do just this one out loud while picturing them or the scenario or the scene or whatever it is that you're forgiving. Again, holding resentment only ends up hurting yourself. You know, as the Toltecs would say, that is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to drop dead, you know, sending like negative energy towards them or whatever else. And so release it, allow it to be done with, allow the light to be there and for it to either dissipate and release or to join the light. So again, use that same formula that I gave you earlier, tapping the pinky point as you do it, except now you're going to replace yourself with the name of the person or however you refer to this person. Now, this is very powerful, and I recommend you use this not only for things you already know are anchors in your life, but when something comes up in the moment, to also use it in that moment or to kind of put a pin in it, and when you have a chance, go do it. And the reason for this is because a lot of times these anchors or these things stuck in your shadows start as very small things. Even sometimes when traumas happen, it's a buildup of a lot of things being ignored that then leads to the trauma. Not always, but in some cases. And so if you can, at the very genesis of this trying to come in, do this technique and release it, you will prevent it from gaining momentum or energy or becoming a bigger anchor that then obviously takes a little more energy to release. And so whenever you feel something like this come up, that you feel self-forgiveness or forgiveness for another would benefit you to do, I recommend that you use this technique. And again, it need not even take long. Once you've done this, you've acknowledged it, you're tapping the pinky point, connecting to that heart meridian, you've said the phrase, you mean it, and you're genuine about it, a lot of times this will release it, and it will be released for good, unless you pick it up again in some way. However, again, I would really recommend you cut this off at the source so that new ones are also not created, and then to work on the bigger anchors as well that you are already aware of that come up for you. And as you continue to discover what those are as well. Okay, and so here is where we want to add something that's going to prevent a certain trap that can happen. Now, for the most part, shadow work is always going to be a net positive. Again, you remove those anchors, you're releasing a lot of that negativity or things that are holding you back. But what a lot of people don't do after this point is to fill in intentionally something else into that space that was just created in order to move in the direction you want to move in. And what I mean is remembering that you are a conscious co-creative being. A lot of our problems, especially with shadow work, come from sometimes not being proactive and waiting for things to happen to us rather than working with these processes through us. And so what I mean here is once you've cleared something, ask yourself, what would you like to put in its place? What emotion or feeling would you like to feel instead? What experience would you like to have instead? And so when you've done any form of shadow work, whether it's this forgiveness exercise or another one that you've done, instead of keeping a vacuum there, which anything could then fill that space, fill the space intentionally yourself as the co-creative being you are. And this becomes very powerful because you do have the ability, and in my eyes, you're meant to fill that space a lot of the time. And so once you've cleared something, let's say, there was some kind of fear in you and you've cleared the fear, ask yourself, what would I rather feel instead? Is it joy? Is it excitement? Is it courage? Whatever it is. And I'm going to give you something you can do to reinforce this emotion in your body and in your expanded body, kind of your spiritual body as well, to lock that in. So again, not only are we removing an anchor, but we're then kind of catapulting you up closer to the surface. Again, the danger is if you leave the emptiness there and you don't consciously fill it, it can be filled with anything, right? And it can just be picked up by something, or it can be anything, right, that you don't even choose, and that space can be filled. So we want to then intentionally choose what we want our experience to be from that point on. Again, we've cleared the thing out, what would we like to replace it with? So typically you're going to do this with emotion, but this will also work with other things like a belief system. Let's say you released a belief about I'm terrible with money. Let's say you're going that route, or I'm never able to get into a good relationship. And let's say you've cleared that in some way. You can do the same thing with going, well, what would you rather feel instead? What would you rather believe instead? And then reinforce that same belief with a similar method here. Now, I recommend going with emotion because that's the core of a lot of this stuff. You know, shadow work, a lot of it is releasing emotion, right? There's energy behind the beliefs and the thoughts. And so we want to go for that kind of foundation most of the time. So if you're clearing, say that came from fear and you've cleared the fear around it, maybe you want to introduce love. Maybe you want to introduce, again, joy. Maybe you want to introduce self-confidence, whatever it is that you decide. And so I'm going to walk you through the technique you can do here. And there are many techniques you can do. And if you already are aware of one that can help fill you up with energy and everything else, you can do that. But I'm going to give you another one that allows you to tap on a meridian point like we did with the pinky. And I'm going to voice it over and then also have it come on screen. So I'll also be on screen walking you through it. Now, this is called the floor to ceiling eye roll. And it does a bunch of different things in allowing you to do this. You can also use this as a clearing method, but we're going to use it as an amplification method after you've done the clearing, the forgiveness. And so what you're going to do is choose the experience, the emotion, the feeling that you want to replace whatever it is you just cleared. So you've created that empty space, and you're going to think about what is it you want to experience instead. Is it appreciation? Is it joy? Is it excitement? Is it love? You know, just choose the one that resonates the most with you. And then you're going to do the following. You're going to keep your head straight, looking at whatever you're looking. So you're not going to go like this or go like this. You're going to do your best to keep it straight. Now, it might a little bit, so you don't have to get over analytical with this, but you're doing your best just to keep it straight. You are going to tap what's called the gamut point between your pinky and your ring finger. And again, I'm going to show you how to do this. So I should be also on screen now doing this for you. And you are going to roll your eyes towards the ground. So you're going to look down at the ground while keeping your head, again, at that same position, but your eyes are going to roll down. And then very slowly, you are going to roll your eyes up towards the ceiling over about a 10 to 15 second period. While you're doing this, you are tapping the gamut point. And I want you to see, feel, and experience whatever emotion you've chosen filling up your body, filling up every cell of your being, filling up your energy body, and just this wave and cascade of that emotion just coming into your being from outside of you, from source, from God, coming through your feet, through the top of your head, being added to your field. I want you to vibrate and see yourself and experience yourself vibrating with this feeling or emotion. And you're going to roll your eyes all the way up to the ceiling as you do this, as you're seeing this, feeling this, experiencing this, tapping the gamut point. You're going to just hold it for a second, feel, see, and experience it, this vibration, this saturation of this energy within you, and then you're just going to come back and release. It's always good to take a nice deep breath after this. In fact, after doing the forgiveness too, a nice all the way inhale and all the way exhale, nice and gentle. Now again, you should have seen me walking you through that while I was talking, but what we can also do now, if you want me to do a guided one, now that you know what it looks like, I will leave that here at the end of the video. And so you can come back to this or pause the video and find what it is you want to reinforce. You can even do this when you're not doing shadow work and you just want to feel a little bit better. So you can choose an emotion. We're going to do it right now. So again, what I want you to do is, again, you can be sitting or standing when you do this. You're going to keep your head straight. I want you to look down at the ground. Make sure you're tapping that gamut point that we showed. And I want you to slowly roll your eyes up towards the ceiling. And I want you to see, feel, and experience the emotion of whatever it is you've chosen, filling up your body, coming through the soles of your feet, through the top of your head, filling up every cell of your body, every molecule of your being is vibrating with this energy, with this emotion. See it, feel it, experience it as you roll your eyes up. Become this emotion, vibrate this emotion. Really try to feel this as it fills up your entire being. And okay, come out of it. Now, what you can do to reinforce this even further is to do it one more time while tapping the opposite gamut point. So if you were tapping the left one, you would then tap the right one and you do it twice, and it's just going to amplify this even more. Now, I promise you, if you want to dive even deeper into shadow work, I would leave a video here for you, which I will put right there. That's going to give you some even more techniques in order to work this. Again, shadow work, in my experience, has been one of the most impactful things when it comes to creating a reality. So much is about subtraction, not always addition. So I really would invite you to watch this one next.